Hello, my friends. Big episode today. We've got the Champions League draw, and we've done quite a bit of transfer business, kind of more than I was expecting in this strange June timeframe break. So let's get right to it. Hello, my friends. Welcome in. It's episode 30. I want to do the draw first, and then we shall look at the transfers. Interesting times, my friends. Let's go. We're in the second qualifying phase. I did look. We were in the first qualifying phase last time, so progress. We're actually... There's only... Okay, this... Oh, you can't see. This is RB Salzburg. And this is Dynamo Kiev versus Rosenborg and us. Those are your two options. Okay? Let's find out. All right, here we go, my friends. Dynamo Kiev. I was expecting more build-up, more of a draw, but I guess that's where you get through. Okay, so we... Yeah, okay. All right. Let's look at Dynamo Kiev. 4-star versus our 3-star. National versus... Or Continental versus our National. Right. Do they not have... Do they not have a manager? What? Has the game broken? He left, he only left like 8 years ago, lads. They don't have a manager? What? Okay, they won some games in the Europa League managing themselves. Oh, I have no idea what to make of that. Have they made transfers? Okay, they pay. Oh, okay. Yeah, they're expected to be better, I would imagine. I mean, they do have a whole star more reputation than us, but my goodness. I mean, this is probably... No, sorry. Maybe 12,000 is the max. Hey, we've done it before, right? With Start. We've done it before. I'm just really confused about the lack of a head coach. Unless someone's going to drop some knowledge on me about how Dynamo Kiev is always managed by a player or something really weird, that seems broken. And it's not a custom part of the league, right? Like, we're talking about... I'm so confused. We're talking about Ukraine, so like it wasn't the only thing that the database that I used earlier was Iceland and Faroe Islands. That's strange. Let me know if you've ever seen that in the comments. All right, now my friends, let's get on to the transfers. How do we do this? Well, let's just go and look. First off, well, I guess we'll show you this one because he's the first one showing up. Kenneth Druge is joining us. In 5 days. I was just making sure it wasn't that wasn't the when the offer was due back. That's not how it works. Can play up and down the spine. Can also play on the left as an inverted winger, which I think is obviously very strange. We don't do any of that business. But, you know, he's an advanced playmaker, natural in the midfield, could play up top. We paid 150K because we wanted him now versus at the end of the season. We could have just signed him on a contract. There was another club, I guess it's not listed anymore, that was interested in end of contract. And I was like, we've got 150 grand. Cheap. I can't remember what we're paying. It was like 1.8K maybe. 23. Highlighted, my friends. Swedish. He's a Malmo player, you know, things. Really is a Göteborgs player, so we shouldn't have anything to say about that. Find it very interesting that they bought him for 150 and they're selling him for 150. So I think it's a fair deal. He's done okay. I think he's got potential, and he's Swedish, and that is important in our league. So why do we need one of those, my friends? We have sold Matthias Esland. I feel bad. It's interesting he's with RB Salzburg. We could have turned around and played him in the Champions League, which would have been fascinating. But they came in with an offer, $2 million rising to 2.5. He had a 30% sell-on clause, so we paid him like 300 grand or whatever that is. Like we gave him a very large check. Again, I think he and his agent knew, and they're paying him 11.25K. We're paying him 4K, so he's happy. Like, he's got to be thrilled. So we ended up netting, 1.2 million into the transfer budget, but like, his physicals are not great. Balance, jumping reach, acceleration, all this was going down. I figured now was the time, versus in like the winter transfer window before the season, or in between the seasons. He's quite good. He did quite the job for us, even in this last season, right? Like 3 league starts, 7.4, 2 in the cup, 7.47. He's not a bad player. It was time to cash in. If you were going to cash in on him, it was time. And again, I think he knew. So we sold him on. They booked him on a 3-year deal. My goodness, you maniacs. Right. Or 2-year deal. I can't remember. 3 years. It's 3 years. Do the math, GHG. He'll be 34. That's impressive. I guess maybe they're going to rely on his mentals and his technicals. You've probably also noticed we sold Yosino Bandiera and Charles, which kind of surprised me, but let me explain myself. So, he's got quite the raise. My thinking on Charles is he's 25. He's a 38 rated player compared, like, based on our scouts. Okay? Great jumping reach. 6'7" monster. Like, you gotta love that, but he had 1 substitute appearance, and it was an 8.2, but it was a substitute appearance. It couldn't have been that good. I mean, I guess it was, but got 13 games last season, 8 starts, 5 subs on a 6.93. Was just kind of okay. We could have played him more, but we have the whole, you have to have 9 players homegrown nation, right? And his pace acceleration bothered me, and I thought, he's 25. He's not going to be getting better from a physical standpoint. Like, it's not all of a sudden he's going to be the paciest. He's giant. Like, it takes a lot to get that 6'7" frame moving. I get it. And I do like his determination and his aggression and heading, and good enough player. But we had better options at the club, and they gave us 975 grand. I was like, sure. That sounds good. And I think it has some sort of a sell-on fee or something like that. So maybe he'll get sold on and we can make a profit on top of that. But again, leadership, terrible. Like, he's got some issues with his game. He's a really good just defensive center back. But I thought, let's sell him on. And he's dislocated his shoulder as soon as he got there. Congrats. Same thing with Bandiera. You could argue maybe we should have kept him around, but 21, he was just not getting games. So he's gone back to Brazil. He got paid. I mean, we picked him up on a free 9K in loan, whatever that is, 68K over his tenure with us, but a lot of that was like 6.3 in the one game this season. Last season was Sirius, which is in our division, 648 on 5 starts. Not good. 2 starts and 4 subs on a 6.55. Like, just didn't seem to have the it factor for our league. And we got a little bit of money for him, and it was kind of like, get him off the books. It's fine. We loaned out some others. Nothing too exciting, really, to talk about there. So let's look at the ends. And it's just the one, besides the one I showed you, I guess. So that's not really as dramatic as I thought it was. But Vincent Driessen from Ajax on a free. I wanted to get his wages a little bit lower, but he took a backup contract, which is kind of what I wanted. In the midfield center, he's definitely 2 stars, but I don't know. I think on a free, he's really physically good. And if we can work on the technicals a little bit, they're not terrible. Like if you play him in a box-to-box role, his concentration's not great, but like he's got the physicals to keep up, and all the key attributes he's got for the most part. And he took a backup contract for 2 years. So it gives us a little bit of depth and, keeps us pushing on those players in the midfield. But honestly, this is more business than I thought I was going to be doing. Selling 3 players for essentially 3 million, rising to 3.5, and then buying one on a free and then the other one that hasn't gone through yet for 150K. And this is essentially the backup. John Eriksson is our starter in that Esland role, right? But this guy is going to be, kind of the backup, even though I think he's older. Where is John Eriksson? There he is. He's 20. So this guy is his understudy, but older. Whatever. Can't jump to save his life, but I think he's good enough, right? And then you've got Dennis Matson that can rotate in there. So we now have a couple more options in midfield heading into the Champions League. I'm quite happy with that. So here we are. Look at this unbeaten run, my friends. I guess let's just talk about the league first. Sorry, I'm bouncing all over. I'm not editing this. Why would I do that? We're top of the table by 3 points. Really should be by 5 points if we're being honest with ourselves. But look at this. Hammarby, 10th place on 17 points. BK Häcken, who were really up there, have fallen off quite a bit. 8 points in the first 12 games. Malmo, I mean, their manager left to Valencia. They were sniffing around. They asked me to interview, and I was like, nah, I'm good. And so he left to go to Malmo. So they finally hired a new guy on April 20th. But for a team that has just essentially not been any lower than 5th, and that's just twice in the last however 20 years, they've been really dominant. They are way down there in 6th on 19 points. Like, that's not very good. Elfsborg's made a resurgence. Nordic has been there. Sirius is back. So it's been quite interesting. And the reason I said it should be 5 points is this game here. So we scored in the 89th minute. It was off of a set piece. Not really great. It wasn't like beautiful, but they tried to clear it and it clattered off our guy into the goal. And I was like, yay. And then, of course, literally the last minute of extra time, probably like the last kick of the game, ball over the top, we give up the goal to equalize. But we have like an unbeaten run going back to league play to last season of like 18 games, which is insane. Let's see. I can't remember what you all have seen. Let's just start here. Joachim Sodra, 2-0 Esland and Roberto. Roberto getting this game was kind of disappointing, to be honest with you. We did rotate Tobias in, Hall. We were running it. There's a bunch of games in April, so we were rotating it in some players, but really should have done better. BK Häcken, which I was quite pleased with, except for the fact that now that it's kind of like, oh, they're not really that good this year. Trelleborgs, we absolutely smashed 5-0. Malmo, we smashed away. But, we won 2-0. The put it away goal was in the 84th minute, but whatever. Let's see. Vastoros SK? I don't know if that's right. Loyalson with the hat trick, the brace in 2 minutes, and then the penalty in the 71st. And then Orebro 4-2. Kind of a back and forth game, a little too back and forth for my taste. Then we played the Money League, and I want to talk to you about this. If you play Football Manager and you are looking to generate some cash for your team, this is in June. Okay, we played a bunch of friendlies, but outside of these 3 games, like this one probably netted us like 38 grand. This one was like 33 grand. This one was away. I don't think we netted anything. It was a break even. This one was like 38 grand. Nothing too massive. So let's go look at our finances. Income in June. Let's just look at gate receipts. Okay, maybe April, May, June. Okay. You don't have league play, but that's not an insignificant amount of gate receipts. TV revenue, April, May, June, big jump. And a chunk of that, 504 grand for the Money League. 504 grand. We've had 896 grand for the season for the league play. We got 536 in the Europa League this year. That's massive. Like, that's massive. Match day income, again, same thing. That's not insignificant. That's the same as, almost the same as April. Merchandising, bit of a drop off, but that's league play going away. The reason I point that out, right? And of course we had higher expenses, right? So you had match day expenses, you know, same as April, right? So it kind of balances out that way. All that to say, these 3 games netted us about 900 grand after paying the teams to come play us because of that TV revenue. So if you're looking, if you got a small club and you're looking to generate some revenue, again, I'm not saying this is a small club, but like 900 grand when you've got 19 or whatever the time, 18 million in the bank is not insignificant. And we smashed them, of course. So we did do the game with TBFCS Rouen. We actually gave up a goal. I was kind of concerned. They scored in the 9th minute after we had we broke the tie, I guess, in the 2nd minute, and they came back and equalized. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? What's going on? Then we came back. So we've got Hagby to play. I'm going to play some games, and then we'll probably, I mean, I've already rambled for 15 minutes. We're probably not going to do a game today, but I want to show you some of these youngsters that we played in these games. Let me see if I can point them out here. Ololson, look at that. Oh, he's like Roberto Part 2, my friends. Advanced 4. I mean, he's quite got 24 goals in 18 total appearances, 12 starts in non-competitive play. In the U21 league, 8 goals and 5 starts. 3 goals and a start in league play on a 9.6. He's like, I'm good for the season, lads. He's got people sniffing around, but we're not interested. Jorn Achenbach has been, brought up, youth prospect, German, love it, but he could be homegrown nation. Doesn't matter that he's German. He just has to be, raised in the footballing ways in Sweden. 3.5 to 4.5 star, 2 star. I mean, but like he did okay in our games in the friendlies. Like he played a bunch of friendlies and he's done all right. So he's definitely got some work to do. But for 17 years old, not half bad in my opinion. Matthias Ardvinsson, same deal on the other side. We played him at right back to give Yalali. Oh, we got to do the World Cup. Oh, what am I doing? I've buried the lead. We'll get to that. But we were rotating he and Hugo Janssen while Yalali was out at the World Cup. But again, I'm not saying he's fantastic, but he's getting there. He's got 4-star ability or potential ability. Has got to work on his technicals, but there's less red on this screen. I'm sure you'll notice. And he's 13 determination already, and he's coming along quite nicely. Matthias Johansson that we brought in is already 2.5 stars. He was already pretty solid, though. I mean, we paid money for him, so, things like that. Christian Brandstrom coming along nicely. Still has got that 4 to 5 star potential ability, 2-star current ability. He's going to feature more once we get into the Champions League. Klein, we kind of already talked about. Let's see. We definitely brought in some others. I just need to find them. There's other. I've already sent them back to the U21 and U19 teams, which is why I'm not going there, because then I would be just as lost going like, who? Slobodan Stosic, 2.5 to 3.5 star. We played him as an advanced playmaker. He did all right. Got 3. I mean, this is not just the friendlies we just played, but he did play in a bunch of them. And he's done pretty well for himself, I think you can argue. We also had a couple other defenders. I can't remember them. August Jepsen. Again, I was just trying to get game time. 4 determination, and we've got someone tutoring him, and it doesn't seem to be budging. So, trying to change that personality type is challenging. 6'4". He could be really good if we could fix it. Like in between his ears. That's where his problem is. But he did all right. This is a goalkeeper, 3 to 4 star. Just needs more exposure. We're trying to get him loaned out. I don't know if anybody's going to pick him up, but he's kind of like Braden Part 2, I guess is what you could look at it like. There was maybe 1 or 2 others, but nobody super super exciting, I guess. I did list Kassalainen for a minute, and then I was just overcome with guilt, and I couldn't do it. So let's show you the World Cup, my friends. So you got Portugal, Spain, Belgium, Serbia in the semifinals, but I want to show you the groups because I think that's the most exciting part of the World Cup. USA, top of the group against China and Austria, and well, we won't talk about that. -5 goal differential. Belgium besting Germany and Canada. What world is it that we live in? And South Africa making it. Argentina and Portugal besting Japan and Denmark. Sorry, Denmark viewers. Mexico, France, Ukraine, South Korea. No surprises there. Depending on your perspective. Brazil and Italy. Okay, beat Iran and Egypt. Colombia and England over Nigeria and Australia. Hassan did get called up. It was like 6.6. Wasn't terrible, but he just didn't do as well. Spain and Holland over, bit surprising, Uruguay and Senegal. And Serbia and Chile over Sweden and Qatar. So we definitely had, I put this on the Patreon lens. We had like 5 or 6 people called into camps, but only 3 of them ended up actually playing. It was John Eriksson for Sweden, Hassan for Nigeria, and I want to say Klein played for the U.S. Is he in the list? Am I crazy? I could be crazy. That's definitely plausible. I'm just trying to think what other country that they would have been from. But I guess it doesn't matter. So that was the group stage. Second round, USA beats Germany. Unbelievable scenes. Call it a day. We're happy, right? Like, doesn't matter. We're through that knockout round. Belgium over China. France and Argentina going to penalties. Portugal over Mexico. England over Brazil. Shocking result. Colombia over Italy. Spain smashing Chile. And Serbia over Holland. Quarterfinals, USA loses to Portugal. By this point, it's like you beat Germany. Who cares? Belgium over France, again in penalties. Serbia and England over England. Spain in extra time over Colombia. And now we are at the semifinals. So let me know who you think is going to win the World Cup. Portugal, Spain, Belgium, or Serbia. Without knowing anything other than it is 2034, my friends. But I've rambled on enough, I think. I showed you the finances. The board are happy, very secure. They're not happy about Estland leaving, which okay, enjoy yourselves, I suppose. Dynamics, excellent. Match cohesion is good, excellent. Metinen, not sure. I thought about selling him 900K. He's kind of falling off, and we have a Loyalson, but he's Swedish. That's what it comes back to. We got Roberto's definitely better than him now. Lapalainen, not on the list. That's a bit disappointing. And let me show you one last thing before we go. I should have purchased Kieta when I was talking to you, when he was listed and unhappy. And I didn't. And then his unhappiness went away and his price went up. And then I offered him an end of contract, and he wanted to be like a key player or something ridiculous. And I was like, I can't just justify bringing you back just to give you the keys of the kingdom. So we've said no for now. Maybe if his contract keeps going on, I'll make sure he's on the transfer list so I get news about him, that we can come back and say, like, mate, like, let's try rotation. You're on a rotation right now, and you've only, I do rotate. I'm the guy that the newspapers are writing about, talking about rotating. That's me. Why don't you come back? Look at what you were able to do when you were with us. 17 goals on 25 total appearances. And 16 of those appearances were substitute. You'd think you'd come back to that, but we'll have to see how that turns out. Thank you for sticking with me. I know that was a lot. I thought we would actually get to a game today, but I was able to ramble enough that we didn't, I guess. So that actually buys me some time to go actually play these games. The next episode, I want to show you these games, but like for me, my save, it's about the Champions League. So maybe we do this and Hammarby together, but they're not very good. Maybe it's Elfsborg. I don't know. We'll check it out next time. So check this stuff out over here. and up there and all around. Oh, I don't have the patrons pulled up again. Thank you to all the patrons. To every single one of you. I will get you next episode when I remember. Sorry. We'll see you next time. Let me know in the comments about the transfers.